Welcome back to my channel. My name is Adrienne and I'm so excited that you're here. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a full review on A1 Estate Liquidators and Buyouts. This is the company that I used when I was selling all of my items in order to move to Belize, and I wanted to make sure that I give you a full rundown on my experience with this company and why I am choosing not to recommend them. I've got my notes, I'm ready to go. I also have some short clips that I'm going to insert here and there throughout the video, and basically, give you a full rundown on my experience with this company. If this is your first time here, I do hope that you will subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to get a full review on A1 Estate Liquidators and Buyouts and why I am choosing not to recommend them, then please keep watching. Alright, I've got my glass of wine. I've got my iPad of notes. I also have my glasses. I am ready to get this review started. I first wanted to give you all an idea of how I was introduced to this company, A1 Estate Liquidators. And I do have my notes because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So I heard about this company through a website called estatesales.net, and I will of course put all of the information in the description box for these organizations. Estatesales.net I do recommend. I will get into that in a little further detail later on in the video, but I do want to say right off the top that estatesales.net is a great website, and I highly recommend it if it is the way that you would like to liquidate your items. That is the way that I was introduced to A1 Estate Liquidators. I went onto the estatesales.net website and was looking for auctioneers in my area in order for me to, again, liquidate all of the items that I had been collecting for decades. I reached out to several different companies, but I did reach out to them because they had stated that they were like the best estate auction company in the area. When I contacted the company, I spoke with the owner of the company. His name is Tim, and we had spoken sometime in August, and I had explained to him that I was moving in October and that I really needed to just get rid of all my items. I was sort of doing things in advance in order for me to have enough time for me to get rid of everything and still be able to pack up the things that I was moving to Belize. I thought that, you know, doing it on Labor Day weekend would be great, since it's right at the end of August. I would still have like a month before I was leaving in order for me to figure out everything that I needed to get done before I left. So it kind of worked out. He said he did have the availability, but he was super duper busy and wasn't able to speak with me at that time, that he would get back to me as it got closer to the time of the sale, so that we could work out all the details, get the contract, and, you know, solidify the date. I had to live at my dad's house for a month, so I had to move things over there, etc. A couple of weeks had gone by. I had not heard anything from him. So I reached out to him, and he was like, I don't remember this conversation. I am completely booked for Labor Day. You know, I will just have to get back to you with a better date. And, you know, yeah, that's just not going to work out for me. So I said, okay, no problem. I still have plenty of time. So if you could, you know, contact me with another date, that would be great. I never heard back from the guy. I had kept reaching out to him. He just kept blowing me off, and I got really, really frustrated, but I was also out of time to find someone else. So I was able to get in contact with him. He said he, you know, was really sorry, but he was willing to help me out. And so I needed to contact his, I guess his assistant, in order for me to get the sale posted up on the website and get a date and a contract and all of that good fun stuff. So I reached out to her. She was lovely. I wish I could remember her name. I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was very, very nice. She was able to get me a date. She got the auction posted up on the website, and so I felt, okay, I got my dates locked in. Before I keep going further into the story and losing my place, let me make sure I've covered everything. Yeah, so I waited several weeks. I just kept getting the runaround. I finally got a date and a contract. Right before the sale, they were, of course, going to come out and take a look at all of the items and assess, you know, the best way to do the sale. And so we had agreed upon a date and a time, which was 8 p.m. And I repeated it back to him because I just had a feeling that this guy just was not, you know, really as organized as I would have liked him to have been. So I repeated it back to him. I said 8 p.m. He said, yes, 8 p.m. I said, okay, great, no problem. The following day, on the day that they were supposed to come, they showed up at 8 a.m. at my house. His partner and someone else to assist her. I was not prepared. I had planned a whole bunch of things that I was going to get done during that day in order to be ready and organized for them when they got there. I had barely woken up. I had to still get my son ready for school. And yeah, it was just a big hot mess. I said, you're just here basically to assess all of the items. She said, no, we're here to set up the sale. This is the only day that we actually have to get the sale set up and ready to go for the day. I was like, okay, well, I just was not prepared to do that. And she's like, well, yeah, no, you don't have to do anything. Just show us what it is that you want to, you know, have put up in the sale, because I had some of the items that I was packing to move to Belize also in the same area. So she just said, no, don't worry about it. We'll just kind of, you know, unpack everything. So I took a deep breath, got myself situated, and had them go ahead and start just unpacking and setting up for the sale. They brought tables, and they basically started unpacking all of the items that I wanted to sell, because I had put them all in boxes. Yeah, they just kind of set up the tables and just started pulling things out and just kind of plunking it on the table. And some items she was sort of putting prices on, but not a lot of items. And I was just, you know, getting really antsy, because I'm just a very organized person, and I don't really like to see things in disarray. But I bit my tongue, and I just let them go ahead and proceed to do what they needed to get done. And, you know, at the end of it, they had basically unpacked everything onto tables with no rhyme or reason as to how the items were set up. Actually, having worked in auctions in my life and setting up auction sales and knowing what that's supposed to look like, I had the tables, and I actually organized every section so it actually looked like a sale at the end of it, not just random things on a table for people to kind of go through. I'm going to insert the clip here, and this is basically me doing all the reorganizing of the mess that they had created. So here's that clip, and then I'll be back mid-video to give you some more information. All right. Here's the clip.
All right. I am in the process of reorganizing from the auctioneers coming over yesterday. So I just, I wish I had gotten a before shot of this area over here, but it was a hot mess. So I just reorganized it so it looks really nice and set up for the sale. Everything down here, we're getting things way more organized than they were before. We'll start on this end. This is also just me getting an inventory of everything since I will not be present during the sale. I don't want to be around a bunch of people with COVID coveted it out, so I will not be in attendance, but this is sort of the kitchen stuff. And then we go into my glasswares. Again, this did not look like this. Oh my gosh, if you had seen it before, it was unbelievable. But now it looks presentable, like, yeah. And this is just sort of some CDs and more CDs and some sort of bath items, humidifier, a heating pad, some little travel, that's what I'm trying to say, like little travel stuff, bath stuff. And then down here is some kid stuff, some more bath stuff, some electronics back there, my weights. This is all just like household items, basically. Some more kid stuff, Legos, more kid stuff, backpacks, stuff like that. All right, so this is the preliminary of this area. Good to go. All right, now I got this area all together. Before it was just all this stuff inside the big trash can, but I made it look more like, you know, a sale. So everything is much more organized. In this corner, so it's all the yard and planting type items, and also just adding more and more and getting things organized. I keep forgetting to do before shots because I also started organizing this counter, which was a hot mess. And so I'm working on this countertop, and this one also was a hot mess, and I'm still working on getting this one together. But this will give you an idea of the way they kind of put things together. Nothing made sense. Everything just kind of everything one on top of the other, just like nothing together and organized. So I'm going to work on that next, and then I will hit the other areas. Annoyingly, I keep cleaning up before I get before pictures. Once again, this area was a hot mess, so I organized it so that I can make this better. I mean, look at this. This is like, I asked them to leave the boxes there, but this was kind of like the way things are, the way they left them, like nothing making any sense, no rhyme or reason to the way they put stuff together. It's just everything all over the place, just a mess, a mess, a mess. So yeah, in this area also, this is a little better. This wasn't so bad, the way they put together the Christmas stuff, but still. I mean, you put the kids' shoes in with the Christmas stuff. Like, how does that make sense? Ah, jeez Louise, just a mess, a mess, a mess. I'll get it together. I think I can do better. I know I can do better, actually. So let me get to going. And this table also, I mean, nothing like tall stuff in front of short stuff in front. You can't see what anything is. How are people gonna buy it? They're just gonna rummage through stuff? This is just a mess. Just, unbelievable. Wait till you see it after I'm done. Then you'll get what a sale setup should look like. I mean, my table, you know, they just kind of plunk things around. Nothing made, I mean, this is just such a mess. All right, you guys, wait till you see it, what it looks like when I'm done. Holy hell.
Ooh, did you see that? Wow, okay, I wish, it really bothers me that I did not get before videos and photos of what it looked like before I went in and organized it. That really still to this day bugs me to no end. I will insert a short clip at the end of the video so you can see sort of what it looked like. I did a real quick sort of scan of what the room looked like when I had finished it and it was all organized. So I will run that at the end of the video. Okay, so my main video notes, I noted that she was creating flyers. So she had hung flyers up around the apartment community in the buildings that were closest to me. And I just happened to be going outside. I think I was driving to the store or something like that, and I, you know, took a look at the flyer, and I noted on the flyer, she didn't put the date on there. It was handwritten on a piece of notebook paper, stuck up with some tape to the building, real kind of just sloppily done, not very detailed. A lot of items were left off. And again, she did not put the date of the sale. I actually had a woman show up at my house 2 days early wanting to come and take a look through the sale, and I wasn't prepared. So yeah, that was really kind of frustrating. So I had to call her, by the way, what was her name? His partner, Candy. So I had to call Candy and let her know that she didn't put the date on the flyers. And so she's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll come back and, you know, I'll fix that. So she came back out and fixed the flyers, but half of them, she left the address off of the flyers. So I was just like, forget it. I will do my own flyers. So I typed up and printed out flyers and had to go around to the buildings and take down her flyers and hang up my own to make sure that they were accurate. So there was that. So in the meantime, I also had called her another time and said, you know, I needed more tables as I was organizing and kind of laying things out and getting them in sale ready. I noted that I needed a few more tables. So she said, okay, well, the day of the sale, you know, I'll come out and I'll bring more tables. I said, you know, it would be nice if you could do it a little sooner. She's like, unfortunately, I'm really busy, so, you know, we'll just have to do it on the day of the sale. I said, okay, no problem. So woke up the next day and went to go start doing some more organizing, and all of a sudden I saw that there were 2 tables sitting inside my doorway. Now, granted, I did have to give them a key. That's part of their agreement, is to make sure that they are able to have access to the apartment at any time. So she did have a key. So I was like, she came at some point in the middle of the night while I was asleep and left 2 tables in my house. I'm like, what if I had heard her and thought she was a burglar and I had a gun? I mean, with no text message, no phone call to let me know she was doing it, nothing. I was mind blown. And I was just like, this is just like going from bad to worse. But I was out of time. I really had no other choice at this point. So it was like, I just have to go forward with the sale. You know, I just basically cross my fingers and hope for the best. So now I'm going to go ahead and run the quick scan video of what it looked like once I had everything organized and it was sale ready. And then after the video, I will come back and give you my final notes and my final thoughts on this review of A1 Estate Liquidators and Buyouts. Now, here's the clip.
No.
Set this up pretty darn good. All the blankets. Okay, I hope that gave you a little bit of an idea of the way that a sale should be set up and the way that I have organized it. Now, granted, I only gave you the view of the kitchen, the living room, the dining room area, but I did have to organize my son's bedroom as well as my own bedroom. The majority of the things in those two rooms were items that we were taking to Belize, so there really wasn't much setup done in those rooms, but each room did have furniture in them and items in them that were also up for sale. Let me go ahead and read you my final notes. So I had stayed up for days preparing for this sale. Every room was gone through. I had taken everything out of the apartment that I was shipping to Belize. Actually, the day of the sale, which is the reason why I didn't get as great a video as I would have liked, was I was still packing up my car to move my things to my dad's house in order to get them packed up and shipped to Belize. So a lot of things I was still moving out that day, and people were starting to come in, and I did not get as great of a scan video as I would have liked to the apartment at the end. So I do apologize for that. But they came in and unpacked all the stuff in just a few hours, like maybe 2 or 3 hours. It took them to just unpack stuff. But again, nothing was in any sort of a sale order. Again, being in that industry many years ago, which interestingly, the majority of the items that I had in my apartment were items that I had gotten when I was working at auctions. So a lot of the items were antiques, some items were, just very old and very prized possession. I made sure that it was organized and orderly and everything had sale appeal so that people were interested to buy it, as opposed to it being plunked on a table in a big massive pile and they have to go through it. No, nobody wants to do that. So yeah, I made sure that everything looked perfect and pristine so that when people walk through, they were like, oh, I can see that. Oh, I see what that is. I see where, what this section is. I understand what is in this section. On the day of the sale, everything was pretty much ready. They came in, they put signs, I guess, around the neighborhood and out on the street towards the highway to kind of direct people there. But everything else was pretty much ready to go. And so, I was there as some people started coming in, and, it seemed like, okay, they were doing a pretty good job, but I did not want to be in the space with all these people, because again, as I said in the earlier clip, I didn't want to be around a bunch of people with COVID and all this stuff. I was getting ready to move to Belize, so the last thing I wanted to do was get sick. Especially knowing all the things that I needed to do before I moved. So that was the last thing I wanted to do, was to be around people and get sick. So I decided to leave after about a half an hour or so. And I think at one point I had gone out to get some food and came back and walked by the apartment, because I was just staying over at a neighbor's and a few buildings down, and I came back and they had sold my living room set, my sofa, love seat, and the ottoman. I was like, okay, well that's good, and they got really good money for it. I was really pleased with that. And so, I thought, okay, everything's going really well. So at the end of day one, because it was a 2-day sale, I thought, okay, it's a Friday, it wasn't going to be as busy, but the next day was going to be Saturday, so I thought, okay, great, it's going to get a lot more traffic, and we're going to do a lot more sales. So I didn't stay around at all for day 2. I think I just kind of was there in the beginning and was really hopeful, and I came back maybe an hour or 2 before the sale was ending, and walked through the apartment and was shocked at the amount of stuff that was still remaining in that apartment. It was like 80% of the items were still in the apartment. I was floored. I was like, what happened? I think I was just in such shock that I really didn't even really know what to say. And she was like, yeah, we just didn't get a lot of people in today, and we had like a couple rounds of people, but no, I was like, just literally speechless. I just could not believe at how much stuff was left, and there was only a few hours left in the sale, and I'm like, how am I going to get rid of all of this stuff? Yeah, so I just was kind of freaking out, and I was like, okay, well, I'll be back in, like an hour or something like that, because I just had to go get my son and kind of wrap things up. And yeah, I was actually expecting to leave the apartment, lock the door, turn in the keys to the apartment, and never set foot back in it, because I figured that, yeah, they were gonna sell everything. But I was literally just walking around just going, what the fuck am I gonna do with all this stuff, and how am I gonna get rid of it? And of course, I was planning on making money. I was planning on making good money on my items, and at the end of the day, the total figure was so far below what I was expecting to get that I was just mind blown. Okay, I'm gonna go to my notes now, making sure that I'm not forgetting anything here. So they sold approximately 20% of the items, so few items. So instead of spending my final week preparing for my move to Belize, I ended up having to post up items on Facebook Marketplace. And I mean, there was like major pieces of furniture left. and just so much stuff that I was like, I have to be able to get rid of some of it. So granted, I did try to reach out to other auction companies to see if they could do a last minute sale or come and take some of the items out and, do an off-site sale, just in order for me to make some money on these items, as opposed to it just going to the people that clean out the apartment. So with such a short timeline, no one was able to help me But what I found interesting is when I told them the company that I was working with, they were like, oh yeah, we've heard about them. Yeah, we know about that company. And every story that we hear about them is the same. And that every person that they've dealt with has had the same exact experience. And so I was just like, you know, just at a loss. So again, I put things on Facebook Marketplace, but I had to drive back and forth between Rockville, Maryland and Lanham, Maryland. If anybody knows, that's like a 30-minute to 45-minute drive depending on traffic. So to sort of sell items piecemeal, you know, I couldn't just like sell it as a big group. So, you know, as I was posting things up and people were interested in buying it, then I would have to drive around the Beltway, you know, just to sell this one item for, you know, really not a lot of money. And yeah, in the meantime, I'm still trying to pack my things to go to Belize. So that was just a real shit show. I was really upset about that. And I was also trying to sell my car and end up having to put a bunch of miles on my car right before I had to sell it. So I was really annoyed about that as well. So. When I came back at the end of the sale and I was asking her, I was like, oh, you sold this item, what did you sell it for? You know, oh, you sold this, what did you sell it for? And I was mind blown. She was basically giving stuff away towards the end of the sale. Like I had this beautiful all glass and brass anniversary mantle clock that I've had for so many years. I think it was made in the 50s or 60s, and she sold it for like $20. $20 she sold that clock for. And then there was some other, and there was another, oh, my vintage from the 50s chocolate mink jacket that I bought again when I was working at the auctions. I love that thing. I cherished it. It was in perfect mint condition. Even it was a brand new line. I had the lining redone. It wasn't brand new, but I had the lining redone over the years. And she sold that. And here's some pictures of it, by the way. She sold this beautiful mint jacket for $150. $150. So thank you to whoever was able to purchase that jacket at such a cheap price. I mean, I was mind blown. So, okay, I'm going back to my notes before I start crying over that one. Yeah, and so the other companies, they were all saying the same thing, that, you know, that this was not a good company, and they felt really bad about the experience that I had gone through. But unfortunately, there really wasn't anything that they could do. They didn't have any sales that were coming up that, you know, they could come. Actually, what it was is they really didn't even have the time to come out and pick these items up, because, you know, auctioneers, especially on weekends and things like that, I mean, they're constantly moving, and they book weeks and months in advance. So they don't really have time to come by and pick up some items that they don't even know if they're going to sell in their sale. Yeah. So, you know, thank you to all the auction companies that I did reach out to and got back to me and were so kind. But yeah, so that's basically what happened when I reached out to other companies. At the end of the sale, when the dust settled and I finally took a breath, I was really, really disappointed in the entire experience. And, you know, but I felt like the
that Candy and I, we had talked a few times. She seemed like she was a really nice lady, and I felt like they were really going to do right by me, and I think that I was just kind of overclouding my judgment and thinking that she was such a nice lady. We had such good talks and all that, and then just like as I started thinking, I was like, this was just really a horrible experience, and I need to let them know that. So I actually sent her a text message for you right now and let you know what it says. Okay, hang on. Okay, so I found a couple of text messages. So I sent the first text message to Candy. I said, Candy, upon further reflection of the sale, I am beyond disappointed with your company. I actually agreed to work with you all against my better judgment, and now I am paying for it. I cannot believe you sold that vintage mink jacket for $150 and that clock for $20. Reaching out to other sellers, they all know how unreputable you are, and felt bad I got hoodwinked by you all. But as you know, I am a reviewer and promise to make sure I post everywhere I can think of warning everyone not to work with this company. She never responded back. But the owner of the company, Tim, who I had very little interaction with, and when I did, he was rude, nasty, condescending. He was a complete and utter jerk every time I spoke with this man. Let me backtrack. So then I had text message his assistant, and by the way, her name was Joyce. And yeah, super, super nice lady. So I wrote to Joyce. I said, hi Joyce, I just wanted you to know that my sale was an absolute nightmare. I will be writing a review on all my social media, including estatesales.net and Google, warning people not to work with this company. But I will mention you were the only good thing they have going for them. So Joyce, good job. You were the only positive in this entire nightmare experience. After I had sent those two, then I finally got a text message from the owner. And this is what he says. He says, hi Adrian, I hear you have a complaint. You need to call me with the complaint. And just so you know, if you put anything on the internet about me, I will sue you. And that's a promise. He's gonna sue me for a review. He's gonna sue me. Okay, go ahead, sue me. You can't sue somebody for giving a positive or negative review. So this just shows you the level of intelligence of this company. So I again am letting everyone out there know, do not work with this company. If you have worked with them, I am sorry that I didn't get this review out sooner to warn people against them. I'm hoping that other people have reviewed it out there and that nobody else gets hoodwinked by this company, but they are not professional. Please go and do your research, ask other people what their experience was like, and read reviews. The unfortunate thing about estatesales.net is I don't think that there were a lot of ways for me to read reviews. I can't remember what that situation was about, but go and find a reputable company and read the reviews. Use Yelp. If you do use estatesales.net, find out from other people what their experience was like before you work with them. Again, I'm not going to down estatesales.net. I think that, the way that they lay things out is, it's a very beautiful platform and very easy to use. I apologize for my neighbor's dog barking. But yeah, I think that estatesales.net is definitely a platform you should look into if you are looking to liquidate your items. But again, make sure you do your research. And that's it, everyone. Since the dog is going to continue barking through the end of this video, I am going to wrap it up. That's it, you guys. Thank you all again so much for watching. I do know that this was rather a long video. I apologize for that. But I am starting to get back into the swing of posting more videos more often and getting back into my social media now that I am more settled here in Belize. And I want to make sure that I am bringing you guys more fashion and beauty content coming up here soon. Now, if this was your first time here, thank you again so much for sticking through the whole video. I do hope that you will subscribe to my channel. And here at the end of this video, I have uploaded photos of all of my treasured memories as sort of a farewell to some of the items that I collected and loved for 30 plus years. And until next time, you better believe it. Bye.
Praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap. I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks. Listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast. Don't remember life before you, that's fact. I feel good, you look great. I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I got all this potential that's deep inside of me, but they hate when you're successful cause they try to be. They sit there being judgmental because you're trying things, and they just want you to settle and do the right thing. So get a good job, don't slack off. Wake up every morning, make a good impression on your boss. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do, and when you're making money, make sure you don't spend it too soon. Fuck that, I'll do what I wanna do. I got a different path from everyone and that includes you. Who are you to tell me how to live life? In these times it feels like nobody is right, yeah. So I'ma figure out what else we succeed, and then invest all of my time into that and proceed. I need whatever the hell could make me happy, and I don't think you have a clue what could that be. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I think this life could be special if I get rid of the devils. They think that I am a rebel, I think they want me to settle. There's nobody on my level. They think that work is too stressful, I think that work is essential. The grind is all in your mental, and I don't think you understand what I'll go through just to be in control of my life soon. All the negativity, man, I'm immune. I don't really need a mask with all I've been through. I've been making changes for the ages. 5-10 year plans are contagious. I attack that shit, I'm tenacious. And if you ain't, get the fuck out of my way then. Got one life, I won't regret it. I will fight until I get it. I'll look back one day from heaven and say, damn, I learned some lessons. And say, damn, I have no questions. I had fun in every second, and the journey was a blessing, yeah. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep